so much. Thank you, Joelle. So happy, so thrilled to be here with each and every one of you for today's weekly training roundtable as part of your highly sensitive leadership training program. We are just a couple weeks out from our intuitive planning day. So today's training topic is using the intelligence of the heart to navigate stressful times. Let's write that down. Using the intelligence of the heart to navigate stressful times. Again, we are 2 weeks out from Intuitive Planning Day. So let's take a moment just to recap the path that we've been traveling since Intuitive Planning Day in February 2023, with the reminder that as a community of highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders, we intentionally plan from our intuition every 4 approximate months. In Intuitive Planning Day, during Intuitive Planning Day in February of this year, I emphasize the theme for all of us to pay attention and be aware. I referenced the metaphor of standing at the edge of the ocean and a sleeper wave comes in and crashes. And I think we all know about those sleeper waves. It's as if the ocean is just rolling along so smoothly, so evenly, and then suddenly out of nowhere, some huge gigantic wave. We talked about the difference of when you are facing the ocean in the midst of that sleeper wave by paying attention and being aware versus if you have your back to the ocean and are not paying attention and being aware. We developed our 4 Qs, our 4Q intuitive plan in February to support with being able to pay attention and be aware, specifically in the areas, the quadrants of highly sensitive, essential self-safety, highly sensitive motivation, highly sensitive leadership, and highly sensitive abundance. And we then dove deeper into paying attention and being aware of what could possibly take us out through the following 4 months as part of our weekly training roundtables. We did that by giving attention and energy and focus to staying anchored using a considerably huge goal. We did that by giving attention to revisiting resistance to resilience. I introduced the NFD theory, the need for drama theory. The need for drama absolutely can come in, take us out, prevent us from paying attention and being aware. We gave a close eye to cultivating true wealth through true worth. We also looked at the happiness advantage, parts 1, 2, and 3, the value of the long-term list in supporting yourself and staying focused, diving deep into the belief transformation tool, and releasing comparison, all to support us in being able to pay attention and be aware. Through 4 months where so easily sleeper waves could have come in and taken us out. As you all know, as I've shared individually and personally, I experienced a sleeper wave. There have been many members in the community who have experienced sleeper waves. And yet we are still here. And what it takes to remain grounded, centered, focused, continuously productive, being able to stay in a space of creation versus defaulting into coping mechanisms, the coping cycle, or being taken out by shadows, all as a result of sleeper waves. And last week, we began to enter the intentional cultivation of the gamma state. Please write that down. The intentional cultivation of the gamma state. in preparation for Intuitive Planning Day for May 2023. Again, happening in just 2 weeks. Last week, we watched a video to support us with both a different lens and perspective on comparison to self, past and future, while also entering into the gamma state. So you watched a video during last week's training roundtable and you had a takeaway. So take a moment and look back through your notes. What was that takeaway? What happened during last week's training roundtable? I don't know about each of you, but especially during these times, thank God we show up to these weekly training roundtables, because my experience is like, are you kidding? Has it only been 1 week? So take a moment, look back through your notes, or if needed, you can just place your hand on your heart to support you in connecting back in. And what was your takeaway? I would like to hear. Raise your digital hand once you've connected into that takeaway, and let's take a moment for some full community share. Takeaway, full community share. Beautiful. When I call on you, you're going to share an introduction. So take a moment to write this down if that's helpful. You're going to share your name, where you're zooming in from today, your leadership training program level. So that's HSL, HSL plus, or HSL plus plus. And your leadership track. That would be something like in marketing leadership track, advanced marketing leadership track, self-care leadership track, visionary leadership track. All right, beautiful. Takeaway from last week's video supporting us and beginning to enter into the gamma state. Lorena, would you please start us off?
Sure thing. I'm calling in from Vancouver, BC. I'm in the HSL marketing leadership track. And so my takeaway was that the heart brain has an intrinsic nervous system with long-term and short-term memory. So what I took away from that is that I have to work on like removing limiting beliefs and working with a shit tool to like clear away past patterns, especially as they relate to selling. Just supportive now that I'm kind of like in that part of my leadership track. It's just like kind of like leaning more into the business creation and the selling aspect. So it's right on time.
Yeah, beautiful. So the heart brain has intrinsic memory, short and long term. That's amazing right there. And then Lorena's beautiful and brilliant connection to, oh, if that's the case, then yeah, it would really make sense to engage in energy management, specifically with belief transformation. So something like the BTT, the belief transformation tool, is like taking your heart brain to the gym to work that muscle, to build that muscle. Then she also spoke about the SHIT tool. Anyone who's newer to the program stands for shame transformation. We appreciate the pun. Shame transformation also makes sense, taking the heart brain to the gym, transforming beliefs, transforming shame, intentionally utilizing that heart brain. And then Lorena's beautiful connection to selling, and also entering into that part of her personal leadership track and working into that part of the selling process. Gorgeous, beautiful. Thank you. Carolee. I love that. I so appreciate that. Yes, awesome. So again, ways to work that heart brain intentionally, really emphasizing appreciation and that power, and utilizing one of the tools, which is the 5 𝐴s. Beautiful. Absolutely. Such an example of really utilizing our nervous system and its wiring, utilizing it intentionally, right? That's a lot of what I'm hearing. It's beautiful. Amazing. Jen, take away.
Thanks. In the HSL Plus program, visionary track, So my takeaway from last week was that the heart can sense, I believe it was an emotional response before an event. And then I know you had asked us, how does that takeaway support us within P2Ps? And I had written down that my heart can fully guide me on a P2P if I allow it to. And I had a P2P yesterday where I definitely feel like my heart guided me in various questions and things that I pointed out, even within really understanding what his resistance would be in terms of moving forward in enrollment. And I talked about it really clearly and asked him questions, which is actually really nice to see and know that I'm doing that. Whereas when I first learned this process years ago, I was petrified to do that. Now it's super easy.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Beautiful. Gorgeous connection between your takeaway and an amazing example of real life, real time implementation and demonstration. Again, for those of you who might be newer to the program, P2P is our shortcut for selling conversations. P2P stands for prospects to profits. And Jen's example of utilizing that knowledge that the heart brain is interpreting energy, it's interpreting situations steps ahead before it actually happens. Yes, that would be an amazing way to enter into a selling conversation in service to another person. I also appreciate the mentioned years ago learning the selling success system or the P2P process initially and being terrified, because that's what would get in the way of being able to listen, hear, and follow the heart. Right? That's why, as Lorena said, we engage in belief transformation or the shame transformation tools, all to be able to strengthen that muscle, to move beyond the terror, to move beyond the fear, to move beyond the doubt, and really be able to access the heart and to be able to listen to it. And again, to be able to hear it and to follow it by taking action. And that's what we do in Intuitive Planning Day, but it's also what we do every single day for 4 months following Intuitive Planning Day. Build that muscle. Yes. So appreciate the direct connection to, again, real-time, real-life application and use. Awesome. Kara, takeaway.
Hello, HSL Plus Self-Care Leadership Track. And similar to Kara Lee, my focus was on how practicing positive heart wave actions like compassion and forgiveness is required. And I'm with me most of the time. So I need to practice those things, and that will bring in clients. So I'm going to cry a little bit because I got to pop a client this week. Okay? We're okay. But I also threw a couple of tantrums that I totally forgot the need for drama teaching. We're like all neutral, all control over here, you guys. High functionality.
Amazing, Kara. Beautiful. So well done. And again, just similar to Jen, a beautiful demonstration of real time, real life, including like, yeah, right? We slip, we forget. Wait, what was that? NFD, what did that stand for? Need for dog food? No, wait, no, what was that? Right? And then we re-return, and beautiful, and a Papa client. Congratulations. Amazing. Yes. And takeaway from the video.
I'm in the HSL Plus program, self-care track. My takeaway from the video was that the heart sends more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. So the heart brain is more active, and I get caught up in my brain a lot. And so I'm trying to kind of step back from that and listen to the heart, or give it a chance to speak more, because the brain seems to be a yeller screamer.
Yeah, my gosh, so well said. So well said. And of course, you're not alone, not at all. And this is exactly why we go through the process of intuitive planning. Of course, the head brain is super loud. That's how we were all taught, right? I mean, I'm sure no one's elementary or high school. Did you go to class and you're like, okay, so this is heart-brain class. This is intuition 101. No, we didn't get that. So we have to go through the retraining process in order to be able to learn how to do exactly what you just described, Anne. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And Brianna, last share for today, takeaway from the video.
Yes, in advanced marketing. So as I was listening, and I listened post the live this past week, but like I was seeing it almost like there's like two parallel tracks, and that the heart brain is giving the broader perspective and the greater purpose of what's happening, and then whatever's and all this other stuff. But my reflection on that was, I've had multiple instances over the past couple of weeks where my heart brain is telling me something that is not aligned to the reality of what's happening on this plane. Sometimes like my heart brain is like super anxious, and it's like, there's nothing to be anxious about. Like everything is going cool. And then like, 2 hours later, something major happens. And it's like, oh, that's why I was meant to be anxious, right? Or vice versa, where like everything is falling to shit and I really should be, fully like wigged out, but I'm not, because my heart brain is telling me, no, it's totally fine. It will be fine, like, so I think also like what I saw was the dissonance that is often between those two parallel pathways. And I think for me personally, it's like when your heart brain is completely wigging out on anxiety, beyond obviously turning to the tools, like how to deal with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can feel the sleeper wave about to happen, but you don't necessarily have the clues yet for how it's likely to show up.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So well spoken to, which really speaks to the coherence, right? Which is the opposite of the dissonance that you're speaking to, which is also a beautiful transition into our next video. So I'm just going to go right from here to there and ask the team to bring up the video for this week. Please, again, watch, listen, see if this week you can almost intentionally listen with your heart. Write down at least one primary takeaway. Team, when you're ready.
The HeartMath tools and techniques really help you access the intelligence of the heart so we can make better choices in the moment and really navigate these stressful times. What we hear from people across the world, across all professions, is that stress, anxiety, and overwhelm are really out of hand. And a lot of this is due to so much change that's happening. And the way our brains work, we don't like change. Humans do not like change, especially unexpected change or change that we're not in control of. And as it turns out, one of the most effective ways to really reduce stress and anxiety, and even feelings of overwhelm, is to learn how to access the intelligence of the heart and shift the rhythms of the heart, which sends a different neural message to the brain. So one aspect of our research is really focused on developing simple, practical, user-friendly tools and techniques that allow people to really manage their stress. So a lot of people, probably even today, if you think about it, have had a situation where you were being told to do something or you wanted something, but there was a deeper sense or a deeper feeling that it's probably not the best choice. So that's what I mean by that lack of alignment. And that can really be a huge source of stress for people until they learn how to really get the alignment between the heart and brain, which is where coherence comes in. That's when the heart, mind, and emotions are aligned and working together harmoniously. Our basic research done here at the HeartMath Research Center focused more on the physiology of how the heart and brain communicate. Interestingly, a lot of people are surprised to learn that the heart sends more information through the nervous system to the brain than the other way around. And that sounds like some new discovery, but it's not. This has actually been known since the late 1800s. It's basic physiology. But this is important because the quality of these signals sent from the heart to the brain have profound effects on brain function, our mental clarity, even our emotional experience. So the brain is largely interpreting the signals from the heart to create how we feel. So this is why we focus on the heart so much, because if you can shift the rhythms of the heart, you can quickly improve brain function, reduce feelings of anxiety, stress, overwhelm, and so on. But it takes a different doorway, the heart. So the heart math tools and techniques are really designed to shift the rhythms of the heart, which changes the ascending information from the heart to the brain, which is absolutely necessary in order to establish a new baseline. And without establishing a new baseline, we really can't, it's impossible to have sustained change or improvements in our health and our emotional experience. So when we get our systems coherent and have the alignment between heart and brain, that's really when we access that deeper intuition that we have within, inner guidance. So we have a new sense of clarity in a lot of decisions that can seem complex otherwise.
Beautiful. Let's take a breath in and let it out. And the conversation continues. Before we're going into roundtables, I'm going to hand this over to community curator and Business Miracles coach, Lorna. Lorna, welcome.
Thanks, Heather. Hey, everyone. So we are getting close to Intuitive Planning Day, just 2 Wednesdays away. So I wanted to remind you of a few preparation suggestions that kind of have this midterm period in time. So first of all, immediately, like today, make sure that you have the full time blocked off in your calendar for Intuitive Planning Day on Wednesday, May 31st. That's 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Also, finish setting up your entry and re-entry if needed, and use the training recording in the Online Learning Center on the Intuitive Planning Day page to support you in understanding what entry re-entry is if you need to. And just a review of it, even if you have a good understanding, can be really helpful. So finish setting up your entry re-entry. And I would say, my suggestion is within the next 7 days, but you figure out the timing that works best for you. And then from there, also make sure you're listening to the recording of how Heather preps for and uses her intuitive plan. And viewing the video of that can be helpful because there are some screenshots there that can be really helpful. And I would recommend, between now and 48 hours before Intuitive Planning Day to really have yourself fully set up. So it's more than just the one day that happens to make this the powerful experience that Heather has developed and put together. And all this preparation is there for you through what we have learned and up-leveled over the months and years. So just look on the Intuitive Planning page in the Online Learning Center for the complete schedule and all of the preparation, including things I didn't mention in this moment. I'm getting very excited. So Heather, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Really appreciate the emphasis that it's more than just the one day. So you want to support yourself as we are utilizing these weekly trainings as one example to enter into that gamma state. It's kind of the difference between like wading your way into a pool versus, bombing yourself into the deep end. What are those things called? What is that when people like they put their knees together and like a cannonball? Yes, a cannonball into the deep end, which I always hated. I hated the kids who did the cannonball. So sorry if you were one of them, but for me as a highly sensitive, I was like, no cannonball. So just toe dip your way in by preparing yourself over these next couple of weeks. All right, beautiful. You have your takeaway from the video. Let's utilize that as we go into roundtables for the next 20 minutes. Thank you so much, team, when ready. All right, beautiful. Let's take a moment, place a hand or hands on your heart. Together, let's take in a breath in and let it out. Together again, strong, steady breath in and let it out. One more time, power of 3, strong, steady breath in and let it out. Beautiful. From here, connecting in to the takeaway, your primary takeaway that you received from today's weekly training video, and taking a look at this takeaway, how do you plan to intentionally use this takeaway over the next 2 weeks in preparation for our Intuitive Planning Day for May 2023? So again, connecting into your takeaway from the video, and how do you plan to intentionally use this takeaway over the next 2 weeks in preparation for our intuitive planning day for May 2023. Take about 1 minute, connecting in, making an intentional decision and setting yourself up with clear action. About 30 more seconds reflecting and writing intentional use over the next 2 weeks. And then just start to wrap up if you're still writing. And together, let's take in a breath in and let it out. So I'd like to hear some intentional uses with this mentor challenge, to hear from members who tend to not speak up on a roundtable. And that includes if you happen to be new to the Business Miracles community in the last, say, 45 plus days, an invitation, an opportunity in support of entering into that gamma state. We invite you to raise your digital hand and to practice V&V, visibility and vulnerability, within the safe space of this community, trusting connection to your heart. Digital hand, you tend not to speak up on a roundtable. Now's your moment. Or again, you might be newer to the Business Miracles community and highly sensitive leadership training program. Thanks for being a brave soul and starting us off.
Hi, should I do introductions?
Thank you so much. Yes, you absolutely should. So let's write that down. If helpful and needed, you're going to share your name, where you're zooming in from today, your leadership training program level, and your leadership track. Lisa Bolton, when ready.
I'm in the HSL program and I'm in marketing. And my takeaway was humans don't like unexpected change, and it takes time to establish a new baseline.
Yes. How will you intentionally use this takeaway over the next 2 weeks?
I'm going to intentionally do the re-entry training again and watch how you prepare again. I'm going to do it because I tend not to want to do it. So I'm going to do it.
Yes. Yes. Fantastic. This is amazing. Okay. So first of all, yes. So as humans, we tend to not like change, and especially sudden change. And I always like to emphasize, if there's any research that shows that across the board, humans do or don't do something, do or don't like something, you can multiply that like by 50, 80% for those of us who are highly sensitive, because our nervous system takes in stimulation at a much higher degree. So if your regular Joe Schmo walking down the street doesn't like change, you can then multiply that by, again, anywhere 50 to 80% for those of us who are highly sensitive. So it only makes sense that, yes, you would absolutely support yourself with something like entering into intuitive planning day. I really appreciate that I mentioned that she understands this is a valuable thing to do and yet resists doing it. And it goes back to exactly what her takeaway was. It's because we don't like change. What's going to come out of intuitive planning day? If you really show up fully, what's going to happen? Things are going to change. So the best thing you can do is participate, and you will participate by entry, re-entry, and watching how I plan for intuitive planning. And I also really appreciate that I use the magic word, again. I'm going to listen to the entry, re-entry again. I'm going to watch how Heather plans and preps for intuitive planning again. It is only your overprotection, that part of the brain and the operating of the nervous system from the shadow, that's going to say, oh, I already listened to that. I already watched that. I don't need to do that. Why do I need to do that again? The overprotection is because, you know what? I'm actually going to hear something new. Oh my gosh, you know what? I'm actually going to see something different. Oh my gosh, you know what? That's actually going to really help me to really prepare and be more present and actually be able to receive more from the intuitive planning process. And the part of your brain that doesn't like change is going, no, 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 don't do that. Do not do that. There's a really great bag of chips in the pantry. Let's do that. Let's do that. Yes, thank you. Beautiful. As always, in roundtables, you want to be listening through the share of another member. Ooh, how does this relate to me? How do I want to adapt this for me? Versus like, oh, that's so smart that Lisa thought of that. I would never think of that. Oh, I don't get anything out of these roundtables. Oh, these roundtables are so hard. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh, that's cool that she's sharing that. Let me see how I can adapt this for me. I might not do exactly what Lisa said she's going to do, but I can receive something here. Or I can hear something that helps me to be able to ask for further support at another time. Great, great, beautiful, awesome. Jackie, introduction and takeaway and intentional use.
And I'm in the HSL program and the advanced marketing track. My takeaway was that a more resilient baseline is required for sustained change, because consistency is a big thing for me. So that hit home, and the way that I'm going to implement that between now and our planning day is rest, nurture, and slow down.
Gorgeous. So appreciate that. Could you please take that a little bit further and explain or share why you're recognizing the value of that trifecta as part of consistency and resilience as a baseline?
My habits tend to be overscheduling myself. And so to me, resting, slowing down, and nurturing is saying no, creating some space for entry and re-entry, basically to allow my brain to kind of come down several levels, or turn off would be even better, so that my heart can say, oh, okay, you're not just rushing through the days leading up to this.
Amazing. Amazing. So appreciate that you shared this takeaway and this specific example of how you plan to use, because if it's not clear, he's really speaking to those of us who tend towards the pushing coping mechanism, right? But I also really appreciate this because from a socialized perspective, to hear the words resilience, baseline, and consistency in the other 80%, the non-highly sensitives, the equation would be, what more can you do? So this is a beautiful example of A, recognizing your own personal coping mechanism tendencies, which for those of you who tend more towards hiding, it'll be different for you, and that's okay. But recognizing oneself, acknowledging that, and choosing in honor of highly sensitive essential self. Brilliant. Thank you so much. And what is this amazing little tent that you're zooming in from?
I'm in my egg chair on my back porch.
Guess what? Do we all need to go out and get an egg chair now?
Yes, you do. It's amazing. It's like a chair that hugs you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We're just going to add that to the highly sensitive leader like product website. Okay. Egg chair. Goals. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Lisa Simmons, takeaway and how you plan to use it.
Sure. Do you want an introduction?
Sure do. Thank you so much.
Okay. I am in the HSL++ and the self-care leadership track. And my takeaway was another trifecta. It is that the state of coherence means that your heart, mind, and emotions are aligned. And how I plan to use that is actually on a daily basis to check in with all three different things to start understanding where I might be out of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And what immediately came through as a light bulb moment was that, I tend to like not incorporate emotions. And so there's some inner work to do there.
Amazing. Beautiful insight and real awesome follow-up before we watched the video, right? Which is why when Brianna was sharing, I was like, oh, perfect. Her heart had already watched the video, right? And she was speaking to that dissonance, right? She actually used that word. And she was like, well, how do we bring them into alignment, right? So what you just shared is a beautiful example of what that can look like as a practice, as a core practice for yourself. And especially with that deeper insight of like, oh, wow, the emotions for me tend to be left out of it. So let me intentionally bring that to the forefront. Right? So if we're looking for what's the alignment, if we're looking for how do I create the coherence, the way to that is where is the dissonance? Where is the disconnect? Right? It's almost as if you're looking at a puzzle, like laid out, and it's halfway done, and you can see where the missing pieces are. So then the process is you go through looking for the pieces for the exact right fit. And the reason why I'm emphasizing that is because without this intentional lens, our tendency would be to only look at what we typically are seeing, right? Which is what is available to us, what is present to us. But the intention is look at where there is something that might be missing or is at a different lower percentage than the other aspects of, again, that trifecta or whatever it is regarding the alignment and what is misaligned. Yeah, beautiful. It's going to be a powerful core practice over the next 2 weeks.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you. Yeah, oh no.
Hi, I'm in the HSL program marketing track. And for my takeaway for me was, in a way, it was similar last week too, about how the heart sends more to the brain than vice versa. And that if you could shift into the rhythm of the heart, you can also improve the brain function. And the way that I plan on also using that as a takeaway and actually putting it as an intentional thing would be to try to get into that coherence more throughout the day. I think in the morning, I'm relatively good at it. Throughout the day, I kind of just completely shift out and I want to incorporate more of that, which I think related to what Jackie was saying, kind of the pushing, that taking more of that break and being a little bit more intentional with that and getting more in that coherence will also help me brain-wise not feel so frazzled and overwhelmed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Mark, 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 check, check, check. Yes. And again, beautiful extension from Jackie's share, Lisa's share, and then for yourself, because what I'm hearing is when you say like to recognize at moments in the day when I lose touch with that coherence, that would be a moment where you have eyes on the puzzle pieces that have not yet been put in place, right? So the moment you feel the disconnect or the lack of coherence, the habitual tendency is going to be to push your way through, to try to push yourself back to connection, which intellectually we know doesn't work, right? And the opportunity will be to feel the disconnect and rather than push, slow down intentionally. And it could even be just as simple as placing your hand on your heart. It doesn't have to be a big deal. We don't have to take the rest of the day off. We don't have to cancel sessions with clients, right? It could literally just be like, let me step away. Let me place my hand on my heart. That could be just enough. Just that over 2 weeks is going to put you in a powerful place for intuitive planning day. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm on the HS track membership, and I'm in the relationship leadership track. And what resonated with me today is that it takes time to establish a new baseline when there's change. And I'm currently on the move to a 7th country. I am now selling my 25th home and moving temporarily into my 26th home, while the 27th home is going to be refurbished, which we just purchased. And all this made me realize I am so amazing because I'm so sensitive, but I've done all these changes and I'm still here and I'm still unmedicated.
Yes.
And and every time it has been successful and smoother, I realized it was because I actually slowed down. Yeah. And I'm by nature a pusher and I like to go fast and quick.
Yes. Amazing. You are amazing. I don't know if you saw all the hand movements for you. Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. And what I really hear you speaking to is in the midst of external disruption, we're always, by divine free will, in charge of our internal baseline. And we take our baseline with us wherever we go, and no matter what is happening externally. And that is true mastery. And that is the process to engage in through intuitive planning and the use of the intuitive plan. So thank you for that. It's beautiful. Let's all place a hand on our heart. Take a breath in and let it out.